What's up, guys? Fun with Knives back. Got another CRKT for you guys to take a look at. It is the Deviation. Really cool blade. Look at all the angular designs in it. This is a Terry Renner design. Kind of unfamiliar with his work, but they look like this. They're pretty cool looking, that's for sure. But I've been doing a lot of knives recently that I like, love, and those are really easy to do reviews on. And I'm not super stoked on this knife. I wanted it for a long time. I thought it was really different, and when I got it, I was just let down. And we'll talk about why, but first I'll give you the specs. We have a 3.1 inch blade, a 4.54 inch length closed, and then a 7.63 inch length overall. So good EDC size range, as I would define it. And the weight on this, though, is 6 ounces, which is ridiculously heavy for what this knife is able to do. I'll carry a 5.5, 6+ ounce knife as an EDC knife if that weight's supported by all its ability. And this is not the most able knife as an EDC knife. And we'll talk about why I think that weight is just too much. But first, let's take a look at this blade. As I said, just over 3 inches. It is a Tonto, as you guys can see there. Nice and thin, really angular. And it's got a satin finish on the flats, which is really cool. And then a polished finish on these grinds and this kind of swedge on top. So that's a really cool two-tone. I like that. And Deviation, Renner design written on that side, and then IKBS logo. So this blade is very cool looking, but I haven't found it very useful. And that is not because it is a Tonto shape. I think it's the way it's grinded or ground. This hollow grind is way too shallow. You're not getting a whole lot of cutting edge before you hit kind of the bevel, of this knife. So you don't really get that much slicing geometry. And I'm not an expert on that or anything, but I know a full flat ground will slice a hell of a lot better than this very shallow ground, Tonto. So not my favorite for EDC. So that's one of my negatives of this knife. We have a liner lock here. Some nestled stainless steel liners into a stainless steel handle. Lockup's pretty good, pretty solid actually. There's no blade play at all. I mean, no up or down or side to side or anything. But this liner is a little bit hard to move over, but they give you some jimping to move it over. And it is deployed by this pretty large flipper. It looks fairly small here, but once you deploy it, it's a huge finger guard. So I like that safety aspect there. And I love IKBS. I love that ball bearing system to open your blade. It's super fast. It's almost as fast as an assisted blade. But this knife does not have a very good detent, so it is easy to make this blade not open all the way, as you can see there. It happens all the time for me. I mean, the thing comes out with little to no resistance for you to really press hard. So you need to consciously make a good purchase on that to get it out, which is kind of annoying when you have a ball bearing flipper. The Outrage, which I previously reviewed, is much better, has a much better detent, and it opens up a lot quicker and smoother to me. This handle, though, is the kind of selling point of this knife. I mean, look at that thing. It is super cool looking. It is stainless steel that has been 3D machined, and it's got these, if I can get in there, these blue coloration to it. I think it's some sort of titanium nitride coating. Really cool. I mean, that's really 3D. It's milled out awesome. But again, it's all steel. And that's where all your weight's coming from. Those liners inside this are not skeletonized whatsoever. And you have like a really oversized pivot with that same blue coloration. And I mean, it's just more steel there. I mean, it's cool looking, but I mean, it's really thick right here too. So with a liner lock, I'm confused on why they nestled stainless steel liners into a stainless steel frame instead of just doing a frame lock, because I think I would like this knife much better. With this big of a flipper, a Tonto, I think a frame lock would fit this knife very well and maybe give you some more strength to lend it to, more of a tactical application. But this knife is definitely not that. When I first got it, I was like, that's a gentleman's carry knife for sure, but it's too heavy for that. So I would just call it a unique EDC. That's kind of the build this knife fits. But this handle is actually ergonomic despite its very angular design. Your fingers really fall in there nice. You got a thumb ramp here and a thumb ramp here. Reverse grip isn't bad. You got kind of that pocket clip, which we'll talk about in a sec, but the ergonomics of this knife aren't bad, despite its very angular thing. I mean, this knife looks very futuristic. Obviously, it's named the Deviation, so you can deviate from the normal EDC knives, the plain ones. So that's kind of why I bought it, just cool factor. This pocket clip, though, is one of my favorites. So even though this knife's got a lot of things I don't like, this pocket clip is not one. I mean, look at that thing. It's the deepest carry I have. There's no way you'll get anything out of the pocket. Just loop over design. It's kind of screwed through here into the line. It's a good design. It's great. Carries really nice, but then again, it is heavy. So I don't recommend this Deviation unless you're like a knife collector like me. I like the production budget knives, but I just bought it because it was different and it was cool. I don't carry it a ton. I mean, there's some wear on this handle from me carrying it, but that's just kind of the nature of that steel. A couple things to note. This machining in this is very cool, but they left some very sharp edges. So there is sharp edges all over the knife. Obviously not enough to cut you, but a little bit uncomfortable if you really dig your fingers into it. And I had to Loctite this knife because blade centering, if I can even get that in there, is pretty good. I mean, it's moved over a little bit. But the first day I carried this knife, by the end of the day, it was scraping on the stainless steel handle. So I recommend if you do buy it, make sure to Loctite it. But other than that, guys, this is open construction. Forgot to mention that again. But this is the CRKT Deviation. I think there's some way better options out there for you if you're looking to spend around this much. I think I paid around $40 for it. So it is a budget knife, but not the cheapest one out there. But as always, guys, thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. And more knife videos are coming.